I talk a lot about enrichment here on my YouTube channel, so I wanted to make a video talking about what enrichment actually is and what all it encompasses. So to me, enrichment for my dogs is any way that I can mentally stimulate and engage their brain and fulfill their needs for the day. There's actually a couple different forms of enrichment that you might not have thought of quite yet, so we're going to go through those today and some examples in each. So the first one is social. Social is really talking about really what it is, social time. That could be spending time with other dog friends that they have. That could be spending time with you. That could be, if they enjoy people, spending time with other friends, family members that you have, or even going downtown and meeting some new people along the street. It could be going to doggy daycare. It could be hanging out with cat friends. Any social component that you can possibly think of that your dog might enjoy is a really good form of enrichment. Then we have nutritional. Now, nutritional is what most of us really think about when it comes to typical enrichment for dogs. It's food-based, so it actually taps into a dog's natural foraging and scavenging abilities, and this could involve puzzle toys, treat scatters in the yard, hide-and-seek type games, different puzzle bowls, puzzle feeders, different ways of feeding your dog, training sessions, anything that kind of taps into their natural want to find and discover food. That is our nutritional category. This is typically the category that I talk about most here on my channel because it's the easiest to provide your dog. The next one is occupational. Now, occupational involves giving your dog a job to do. This could involve nose work, dog sports like agility and fly ball, or you could even go down the route of something like therapy work, search and rescue. It could also just involve daily training with your dogs. If you think up a task for your dog to do, that is their job in that moment. Wrigley comes to work with me. That is her job, so to speak. So that is a good form of enrichment for her as well. It gets her a lot of mental stimulation needs met on a weekly basis. So the next one is talking about sensory. Now, obviously this has to do with our dog's senses, but a lot of times the ones that get forgotten about are sight, sound, and smell. So a couple of different options that you can provide for this is maybe getting some different diffusers in your home and making sure you have dog safe oils to diffuse. Things like lavender can be really soothing for dogs. Going a different route on your walk will also provide that same different sort of smell enrichment. There's different smells to take in on a different route on your walk. Letting your dog, as long as they're going to do so appropriately, look out your front window and just check out what's going on is a great sight enrichment activity that you can do. You can also just take your dog to a park. You can get some smells in, and you could sit with your dog at like a bench or something like that and actually just let them take in the world and watch everything that's happening. That's also a great form of enrichment, again, as long as your dog is going to do okay with that. And then for sounds, a new environment can provide some stimulation with new sounds that your dog might be hearing, but you could also throw up a YouTube video on the TV or a nature show and let your dog actually just watch, if they like to watch the TV, and listen to those sounds as well. You could play some classical music, you could play some rock music, kind of give your dog like a different sort of entertainment category there if that is something that your dog enjoys. If you haven't tried that before, I know it sounds kind of silly, but you might try it and see if it is something that your dog enjoys, because you might be surprised. And then our last category is physical. So physical really involves anything that gets your dog's body moving. Last night, I did a little training session with Wrigley, stretching out her back end with her weaving between my legs, sending her around a target just to get that body motion and loosening up those muscles for her. Now that she's a little bit older, she's a little sore in the back end, so that's some good physical enrichment. She was also working for food in that context, but you could take your dog swimming if they like hiking, going, again, out on walks. Anything that gets their body moving, dog sports, that kind of stuff. These are not categories that you do just one of them. A lot of times they're going to overlap. Whenever we take our dog out for a walk, they're sniffing, so we're getting that sensory enrichment. You might be handing out food, which is nutritional. You might be tossing treats into the grass for them to find. They're also using their nose there again, but there's also a food component. They're also moving their bodies, so we got the physical component as well. If you're training, that could also be occupational. So we can interweave a lot of different concepts into the same type of exercise or training or game that you're doing with your dog. you actually are hitting a lot of these different categories. So that's something to kind of be aware of, is anything that gets your dog's body moving and anything that works their brain. And if you can combine those two, that is going to be a really fantastic form of exercise and enrichment, and you're well on your way to fulfilling their needs for the day. So another thing to note is enrichment is so specific to the individual dog. Something that might be enriching for my dog Wrigley is not for my dog Fenway. For example, Fen has a lot of dog friends. Wrigley doesn't have as many dog friends. She doesn't enjoy spending time with other dogs that she doesn't know very well. Fen enjoys meeting new dog friends. Same thing with different people friends. Wrigley loves meeting new people. Fen needs a little bit more warm-up time. So providing different social enrichment is kind of tailored to each of my individual dogs and how I go about doing that. Some forms of that social enrichment are not enriching whatsoever for one of my dogs, but extremely enriching for the other. Another good example of this is physical enrichment. My younger guy Fenway needs a whole lot more physical exercise in a day than my older dog Wrigley does. One thing that he's really starting to enjoy is going on runs. Wrigley would hate that. She actually would really hate if we did that and took her on a run, but Fen gets a whole lot of enjoyment out of it. So in that physical category, Wrigley enjoys certain things, Fen enjoys other things, and they're completely on different ends of the spectrum there, and that's okay. So just like us, our dogs also need a lot of mental enrichment and stimulation throughout the day in order for them to get to the end of the day and actually feel fulfilled. There's a lot of different ways that you can provide this. So take a look at some of the different options, see what your dog might enjoy, and see honestly what you might enjoy as well. And get out there and try it. I think trying all these different things is the only way that you're gonna know whether your dog enjoys it or not. So give it a shot and have a good time with it too. I think this is really something that we can get a lot of fulfillment out of, seeing our dogs enjoy their lives as well. We choose to own dogs for a reason. I get a lot of joy and fulfillment out of seeing my dogs happy and satisfied for the day and enjoying a new activity. So that can be a fun component as well. Let me know what you get up to, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below.